Alright, today we're going to learn how to draw tangent line for graph questions. So usually for a graph question, after you plot the graph out, there usually will be a part where they actually ask you to draw a tangent line at a specific point. So today we're going to learn how to do that. So these are some of the basic steps to follow. Okay, the first thing is, very importantly, we need to locate the point where you're supposed to draw the tangent line. Usually they will give you either a coordinate, or they'll tell you at the point where x equals to 1 or 2 or 3.5 or whatever point. Next, you need to locate a plotted point that is before and after this point where the tangent line is supposed to be. Now what I mean by plotted point means, when you have the table of values and you actually use that to plot your points. So those are the plotted points that you have. Now where you need to draw the tangent line at, sometimes that part is not an original plotted point. But for this example, for today's lesson, we'll use one where it was already plotted. Now, what we're going to do is also to place a ruler through these points, the before and after. I'm going to show you in a diagram so you don't have to worry too much. After that, we need to remember that we're going to slide the ruler down. It's like moving like a parallel, in a parallel motion until it touches the graph at the point where the tangent line is supposed to be. Now, it may not be perfect, but it will give you a rough idea. So you may need to adjust the gap when needed. Then, of course, you can actually use many methods of getting the gradient, but I'm going to use a triangle where we're going to use the rise over run method to get the gradient of a tangent line. Okay, so let's use a proper example now. Let's just say that we're supposed to find the gradient of the tangent line where x is equals to 2. So supposing we have already been given a table of values, we have already been able to plot out a cubic graph. So this is a cubic graph. So they already mentioned that they want you to draw a tangent line where x is equals to 2. So that point that I've just circled there, that is the point where you need to draw a tangent line. So that is where x equals to 2 is on the graph. So I've written down here very clearly, so you can't miss that. So this purple point is what I call the before point. So this is where you have the cross, that is called a plotted point. So we pick a point that is just before that, and we pick another point, which is also a plotted point. That's where you see the X there. So this is we call this the after point. So once you have located that, right, we're going to place a ruler through the before and after points. So at the base of the ruler, to help you slide, you can use a protractor or any straight objects like a card or anything to help you to slide down. But of course, for this lesson, I won't be showing you that so that it's not too cluttered. So now we're going to get ready to do a sliding motion. So now, okay, so we slide it until it touches just the outside of the graph. And you notice that here, right, we have to check for the gaps. So what do I mean by the gaps? So where x is equals to 2, right, that's where your tangent line is supposed to be. This one here is actually considered too close because it's hardly any gap between the curve and the ruler. Whereas just to the right of the point where you're supposed to have the tangent line, there is too much gap here. So you can see that between the ruler and the curve, there's already too much gap. So we need to adjust it maybe slightly steeper, all right? So that's how I've adjusted it. So you notice that compared to the previous slide, it's actually steeper. And now you can see that the gap is kind of balanced. So once you've adjusted this, you can use your pencil and you draw a long line, all right? So this is how it look like. Now, you can see that generally the gaps are kind of balanced on both sides, yeah? All right? Okay, so now we try and draw a triangle to help us to find the rise and the run. So we'll try to get corners where necessary. So this is going to be my triangle. And you will notice that I picked the triangle such that the top part of the triangle, right, it passes through all four parts, all four corners very nicely. And here, we also will pass through all four corners of the box very nicely. Okay, this is just to make it easy for us to count. So that's how you draw the triangle. Actually, it can be any size. It doesn't have to be this size as long as it's easy to count. All right. So I am going to use the rise over run method. So what I'm going to do is that for the rise, I have to be very careful. Here is the rise, and you will notice that the scale for the y-axis, right, every 10 small boxes is 10 units. Therefore, I have 30 units in total. Then for the run, I have 2.5 units. So you notice that here, every 10 boxes here represent 1 unit. So in total, we have 2.5 units. So to find the gradient, we just use rise over run. So we have 30 divided by 2.5. So our gradient is actually going to be 12. Since this is an upward slope, we do not need to add in a negative sign. So there you have it. So this is how we actually find the gradient of a tangent line.